Okay, and I'm packed up for the M135 for today. I'll just put the engine cover back, all that good stuff. Send the email to the owner to pay for the parts, over £1,000 in parts. So if you are interested, just stay tuned. The video will come out, but for now I can't do anything else on this, so we're going to move into the next one. And the next one is that little grey one. The Golf should be picked up in a minute. And now we're going to move into this Ford. I know it's the TDCi. It's a 58 plate. Everything is frozen. It's absolutely freezing cold today. So we're going to move to this 2008 Ford Fiesta TDCi. I'm going to guess it's going to be the 1.4. Maybe I'm wrong. And let me get inside and show you what's wrong with it. And it is definitely frozen. 1, 2, 3. This is the third time I'm trying to record this, so let's make sure it's the last. I really hate this weather. It's cold. All you want is to stay inside. Right. Let me start this thing and see if he's still doing the same as he was doing before, and then I can show you. Okay, so key on, everything is off. And now we have that. So that's the issue I was told, is that cog, if you will, with that exclamation mark in the middle, is flashing all the time. I believe I was told the car drives fine otherwise, and that light will go off when you start driving, and then comes again when you come to a stop. I reckon sometimes it goes off even when you start it up, but it comes on again or something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, we have a light in there flashing that shouldn't be. I might just try to go for a quick drive at the end of the road just to see if that really goes off or not, but we'll go on. We will have to wait for these to melt, although I've just seen here this one has that thingy for the screen, so boop. That's one thing I like about the Fords, and I don't know why other makers don't do it, but whatever. Anyway, so I might just get the maxi-sys. I was told there is no codes stored, and they can't figure out what is causing this, but I might try to get the maxi-sys quickly just to see, check some live data maybe. And these defrosters are good when they work, obviously. Okay, so let me take a little bit of the noise. So I was about to go for a drive. I don't have much more of daylight. It's gonna be dark very, very soon. But as I said, I grabbed the maxi-sys to see if there was any codes stored. I was told there was no codes. Don't know which tool they were using, but I definitely picked up some codes. Okay, so glow plug, control circuit. I don't think this code will make that to flash, though it might be or might not, I'm not sure. But the exhaust gas recirculation, definitely it would make, or could possibly make something. Now when you go to the service manual, both says malfunction indicator lamp off for this DTC, okay, and it says the same for the one below. Okay, but this is referring to the, or it might be referring to the engine light and not any other lights. This could be used on this car. I don't know, guys. Some of you probably know about this and are already saying yes, it will do, etc, etc. This could be a different warning. Some cars, they sometimes, like the Volkswagens, they tend to blink that glow plug symbol rather than, for certain faults, rather than the engine light. So that kind of stuff. So this could well be the same issue. But still, I'm gonna go for a quick drive just to see if the car does what I was told, that the light stops flashing when you drive it, and we're gonna look at some live data and come up with a plan of what we're gonna do next. Okay, a little bit tight to come out with all these cars here and the gate open, but let's go. I think you can see the lights in there flashing, and there you go. Look, stopped straight away. You're right, it stopped immediately. So So no flashing anymore. Whoa, this thing needs a steering wheel alignment. Jesus Christ. Wow, you need to battle against the steering wheel to keep the car straight. Really bad. That's how the car goes straight. Wow, anyway. Let me now see if we can stop here somewhere. See if the light starts to flash again or if it stays off. Okay, now it's off. Okay. Let me actually leave the car here idly for a little bit while I load the live data. Live data. Live data. Okay, so it's not coming back. Let me set the engine off. Start it back up. Light is still off. But clearly, guys, you've seen the light flashing, and that's the issue I was asked to look at. So I think I'm not going to drive any longer, like sort of testing anything. I'm just going to drive back home, and we're going to focus on this EGR. But actually, before that, let me actually load this data and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so I haven't drove much longer, just drove at the end of the road where I was, and then I turned right and stopped here again. The light is still off, no flashing. I've loaded all the live data I have for my EGR. That's my values. I haven't seen this top one going above 42. That's the maximum it goes to, and at the moment, and the valve position, that's going to be the voltage feedback from the valve. That's what's going to tell you the position of the valve. Is at 3.64 volts, so just above 3.5 volts, and when I accelerate, the voltage drops and the valve closes. There we go, and the voltage drops. Yeah, there we go. So fully closed is a 0.79. So I'm guessing there is room to open a little bit more, but I'm not sure if the car he actually wants to open this valve any further than 42%, which means this voltage would still have to go up a little bit more, even though the duty cycle is already a 95% pretty much. So I'm guessing the valve is fully open and doing what's supposed to be doing. I'm gonna drive a little bit longer. Let me just see again the codes just to refresh my memory. It says the valve is frozen, so it could be that the valve, or it can be that the valve is getting stuck. It just says valve frozen, doesn't say anything else, and I'm guess so. That's the thingy. The explanation doesn't really matter. There's no freeze frame, so it doesn't tell me exactly what was happening when the code was set. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna probably drive for a little bit longer, see if anything stands out. If it does, I will obviously let you know. Okay, so I'm just gonna drive back home. Just been on the phone with the owner of the car to get a better picture of exactly what the problem is or what happens. And basically it is pretty much what I've told you. So when you start the engine, the light is there flashing. When you start to drive, the light goes away, and then here is where things sometimes gets a little bit weird, because he said to me, sometimes you come to a stop, and if you leave the car idling for a few minutes, the light comes back, if you switch off the engine and you restart, sometimes the light is there, sometimes it's not. But he said majority of the times the light is there flashing all the time when you first start the car. So the only thing I'm curious to see now, because I haven't managed to get the light to flash again, the only thing I want to see now, so we have all seen the EGR values when the car is idling. And what I want to see now is the values of the EGR when that light is flashing. Okay, if they are not the same as we have seen now with the light off, then we are pretty much sure that we have an issue with the EGR. The EGR gets out of those parameters that the ECU is expecting to see and triggers the fault. So I'm gonna drive back home. I'm gonna wait to see if I'm gonna leave it idling there, see if I can make that light to start to flash again, and go from there. Really. Driving, I also confirmed with the owner that the car drives pretty much fine all the time. Which, if the EGR was open or stack open, then I would guess the power would lose power a little bit, because as the turbo kicks in, is this a turbo? I think it is. As the turbo kicks in, obviously the turbo pressure would go through the exhaust EGR, through the EGR valve, so I'm guessing it's not getting stuck open. But at the moment, guys, is all this is all thinking out loud, because until we start to see some values in there when the light is flashing, it's too early to say. So what I'm going to do, as I said, drive back home, leave it to idle, and see what we're going to do next. I forgot to ask him which tool he was using to scan the car, though, because for him to say there's no codes, something was not right there with the tool he was using. So that's it. Let's gonna go. Okay, so I got back home. The light is flashing again, but I had to shut the engine off. So I got here, had the engine idling for about 10 minutes. The light would not start flashing, so I turned the engine off. I actually had to turn the engine off twice. The second time I left the engine off for a little bit longer, for a good 2 or 3 minutes. When I started, the light was flashing again. But when you come to the live data here, as you can see, the EGR is fully open, and when I touch the accelerator, it closes, obviously, and that's it, really. I'm not really sure, because the EGR seems to be operating properly, even though he says it's getting stuck somewhere. So I'm not really sure. The only thing I'm not 100% sure is if this voltage should go, if this is the correct voltage. So if the range on this voltage is correct or not. That's the only thing I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, that's where we are. I'm just gonna do one thing, see if there's any like sort of learnings for the EGR on this car or something like that that could be causing this issue. Maybe, I'm not sure. So let's gonna do it. I'm still saying I don't think the glow plugs are the ones making this flashing. So I don't think it is, but you never know. But yeah, I'm focused more on the EGR because it's the one that makes more sense to be causing any issues. Okay, and unfortunately, no, there is no adaptations or any sort of programming for the EGR. So it looks like I'm gonna have to investigate a little bit to see what could make this light to flash. This car looks like it doesn't have DPF. At least there's nothing on the live data indicating that. So if there is no DPF, the glow plugs are definitely not needed to a certain extent. But I don't think the issue would be too bothered if the glow plugs are not working. Maybe when the engine is cold, but then that would be it. So the next logical thing would be the EGR. Now the EGR looks quite consistent. As the EGR opens and closes, you can see there the values change quite consistently. They always stop at the same place when the EGR is fully open, and they are always the same when the EGR is fully closed. So there's no reasons really to believe that the EGR is not operating. That doesn't mean that the EGR could not be partially blocked, and when the car is at idling, especially that when the EGR is open and is supposed to allow a flow, if that flow is not detected, could make this to happen. And because the code is already there, then obviously you would throw that. There's one thing I haven't done actually, which I'm going to do next, but it could be that is blocked. As you are driving majority of the time, you are with your foot on the accelerator maybe, and that sort of flow might not be detected so easily, and the light doesn't come on maybe, and then when you come to a stop, the car idles and all that good stuff, and you detect that that flow is missing. Maybe it could be that, guys. I would have to be here really. Go for a longer test drive and check all the values. Maybe check the airflow meter as well at the same time, along with the EGR. But there's one thing, guys, that I haven't done, and that's what I was thinking just before I started to record this last clip, which is I just messed it up because I didn't want to do this. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to clear the codes, and once the codes are cleared, we're going to obviously cycle the ignition, restart, and I want to see what's the first code that's going to come back, especially now because the engine is warmed, so it should be no reason for the car to need the glow plugs. So hopefully that is not going to come up, and he's only going to throw the EGR valve fault. So if we allow this to load again, I don't know why I came off. I came out of the car menu. Okay, so let's gonna go there again. That. Read the codes. That. Okay, so let's gonna. How do you clear the codes? Oh, he's not there. He's there. Erase codes. Yes. Yes. Okay. 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 Just make sure the codes are definitely gone. And we do have that glow plug circuit, so let's gonna cycle the ignition now, and like that. So ignition is off. I'm so sorry, guys, for being here. Just take you through this, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna try to leave the car until the latch out, and then I will start the engine again. Okay, it's definitely latched out, so let's gonna turn the ignition on. We're gonna actually start the car, and it's not flashing. It is not flashing, and we do still have obviously the code. Oh, it's flashing now. So it start to flash now. Let me see if we have that EGR code back. If we do have that EGR code back, then that's going to be an EGR issue. No, it's not. So these, guys, looks like it's going to be my glow plugs causing this issue, because I can't see anything else. Let me just do it again in case if I did it too early. Strange that the glow plugs makes this to happen. Wow. Let me actually come out of the ECU completely. Let me log in again. Wow. So really? Is it gonna be the glow plugs making these lights a flash? This is interesting. Okay, guys, and a few days later we are back on this car, and right, guys, I didn't really want to be here today. It's absolutely freezing cold. I've been here yesterday for a couple of minutes, and I just packed up everything and I went back inside. The main reason was because I messed up even before I came to the car. But before I take you through everything we've done so far and everything we're going to do, I just want to say that I did a little bit of a mistake back in the video. Or I would say the wrong approach, which if I do not forget, I will catch up at the end of the video, and I will try to not excuse myself, but I'll try to justify in a way the reason why I've done it. Anyway, that's for later, not for now. So the mistake I've done yesterday, before I even came to the car, was that obviously before I came to this, I just thought, let me get diagrams, so when I get to the car I know exactly what I'm looking at. And I went and I got diagrams. Unfortunately, I got the wrong diagrams. So there is two different systems for the glow plugs on these cars, and to me looks like it's everything to do with the Aero emissions version. I believe the Aero 4s, they have a slightly different systems than the Aero 3s, and I do believe this is a Aero 3. Now I might be wrong on this, correct me if the reason why they are different is not the one I've just mentioned. But there is definitely two different systems, and the difference is that this is the system I thought the car has. So if you do have this system, which I'll take you very quickly through what that is, if you do have this system, these diagrams will apply to you. Unfortunately, that's not the system installed on this car. So this is the system where you have a glow plug relay module, which is basically a relay, just a little bit bigger than a normal relay. But basically is a tiny module which you have 4 independent cables for the glow plugs. You have and then you have a glow. There's a kind of, it's a lean bus kind of from that module to the ECU. Then obviously you have the trigger from the ECU to obviously turn on and off the glow plugs. And then you have the coil to turn on and off the then you have the power and the grounds for the module. So anyway, this does not apply to this because this car does not have the glow plug relay module. The only thing it has is this relay, which as you can see is I already started to work on this, but I'll take you through. So the system we actually have on this car is the one behind, is this one. I went through all this trouble just for the video, okay? So what we do have here is the relay, which is this relay here. Is a 5-pin relay, and then all you have here is you have the coil, okay? And the coil number 1, which is going to be the voltage. Thought someone was coming. Which is the voltage, comes from the fuel pump relay for some reason, but it comes from that relay. So you have battery, 60 amp fuse, then this splits to other things, but it comes down to a 20 amp fuse, which feeds the fuel pump relay. The fuel pump relay feeds the fuel heater and obviously the fuel pump somewhere back in the circuit, and then it comes straight into the coil of the glow plug relay coil, okay? Then obviously the coil is energized, is grounded by the ECU C3 E4 pin, okay? So that's that side. The coil side, the control side if you will. Then the load side, you have the battery, 60 amp fuse, which I'll tell, I think the fuse is over there, but we don't need to get to the fuse if we have power there, but we'll get that in a minute. It comes there. Then when the relay is off, there's nothing happening. When the relay is controlled on, obviously it powers the glow plugs, and it powers these. I believe this is a resistor. I might be wrong, but I think it's a resistor. And obviously when this is powers this resistor, which in turn, it goes back to the engine ECU. And I believe this is a feedback to the ECU about what the relay is doing, okay? Got it? So that's basically the circuit. And that's the circuit we have on this car, which means these glow plugs, they are not controlled individually as they are on the other system. So on this system, they are just controlled all at once, okay? So they are all powered at the same time. So I got a little bit further, and What we do have here, guys, is obviously, as you can see, I got the air filter box out so I could get to this plug. This is a plug that lives here on the side of the fuel filter. You just pull that up, pull it back, and then I push this back, pull it up so I could do some measurements. I pulled the glow plugs out. I pulled 3 of them. The last one is right there in the corner. If I had to get to it, I will, but there's no need. I measured these 3. I already know where they go. So obviously these plugs here. So I measured from there to here. Here you have this plug. A lot of pins not needed, but the biggest 4 pins are obviously my glow plugs, as you can imagine. They are all gold plated, sort of, except the ones for the glow plugs. Okay, so the glow plugs are basically the 4 corners on this round plug. The 4 corners on this round plug. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, so is that at the bottom, and that one in there. So that's the glow plugs, and that's how they address, that's how they are linked to the engine. So this will be the engine in this order: 1, 2, 3, 4, box side in there, and that's how they go. So that's the position of the plug with that little gray thing at the top. So the first one goes to the top left connector right there. Then the top right is the second cylinder, the third cylinder is the bottom left, fourth cylinder is the bottom right. Okay, so don't really need this. We probably already came too further deep into this when probably my issue is not going to even be there. We don't know yet, but from here, guys, what I wanted to, the only thing I want to now measure while we're recording, because all of these was no point to be measuring while recording. This was just to establish some knowledge, some facts, so we know what we are working with. So the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is just check the glow plugs itself. Now, I know for a fact that we do not have shorted glow plugs, and I know that because I've done one measurement yesterday that showed me that there is most likely no glow plugs shorted. I really doubt there is, but we're going to do a quick check anyway, just to make sure. We're going to check them all anyway, and we'll see what we have. Okay, so I have the multimeter. I hope you can see the screen. I have one side connected to ground on the battery. I'm just going to check that we have a good ground to the engine block. So if I go here on the engine block, 0.3 ohms, so that's perfect. That's good. So now we're going to check the glow plugs one by one according to my diagrams, this diagram. Okay, so I'm going to check this one first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to check the first one. It's going to be my top left side. We should have around no open line, that's for sure. So there is first glow plug, open line. So second glow plug, about 9.7, maybe 10 mega ohms. That's a bad glow plug. Now the number 3, 21.6 kilo ohms. That's a bad glow plug. And last but not least, 5.88 kilo ohms. Another bad glow plug. So out of the 4 glow plugs, we have 0 good glow plugs. So we do have a glow plug problem, and yeah, that's not very good. So there's no even point now to go back and check anything else, because it is a waste of time. Glow plugs are bad, and glow plugs needs replacing. So I'll have to speak with the owner and see what he can do, because we all know the stress of replacing glow plugs. Okay, and I messed up. Not that way. I know what you guys are thinking. I snapped a glow plug. So to start with, let me just say that I haven't spoken with the owner yet, but this car belongs to a good friend of mine, and I had pretty much to go ahead to fix it regardless. So I went and I got the tool, got a 8mm socket, and I released all the glow plugs. All the glow plugs came out from the threads, so I could undo the glow plugs until all the thread is out of the engine block. However, 2 of them didn't came out. So the thread came out, but then it's like if they are stuck in somewhere. So I'm going to refer to these as 1, 2, 3, 4, as I already mentioned earlier. So number 3 was one of them, but number 3 is somewhere here, and this somewhere here. And that one I could just get some pliers on it and just wiggle it out and pull it out. So I got 3 out, okay. And this is the one that I was number 3. You see this carbon building up in there right at the end of the heating element. So it looks like something is, well, not something, carbon is building up around there, and is what was holding this glow plug to not coming out. So basically what happened was the thread came out all the way out of the block, but then when the thread was all out, so the glow plug was right there, here at the end of the thread, I couldn't still pull it out. These when I put some pliers, wink it out and wiggle it out, I would say. So I just sort of wiggle the glow plug as making and pull it out at the same time, and it came off. But there's one, which is number 1, that it looks like is in the same situation, but unfortunately that one lives right here behind and I can't get to it. I've been trying. There's really no room. I think I'm gonna have to start to take these fuel lines out maybe and see if I can get to it, because it's just really difficult. There's no room. It's right there behind, and yeah, it's been a little bit of a nightmare. I got 4 brand new glow plugs, because as soon as I got them all out of the threads, I thought, oh well, easy job now. But I never actually pulled them out. Only when I came back with the new ones, I thought, okay, let's pull them out. I start from this side actually, bang, 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 got on that one, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck in there. I've been already for about half an hour, tried to pull it out. So far, no joy, but we're not going to give it up, so I'm going to carry on for a little bit longer. I can barely put the pliers on it. I can put the pliers, then it's very difficult to make. There's no room. I even had to remove the EGR pipe and bend it that way, because otherwise it's very difficult to put the socket in there. There's no angle. It's not in a very good place. But yeah, so that's where we are. Yeah, so let's see if I can pull this out or not. Okay, and this was about time. Wow, took me a good 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to get it out, but it is, let me see if I can, it is now coming out, so I can pull it out. Oh, I haven't pulled it out yet, but it's definitely coming off. Can't get my hands anywhere around this place. Jesus, it's absolutely a nightmare. Come on, there it is. There it is, the thingy, and we do have all 4 now. There they are. Now we have 4 more new ones to put back in, which I'm gonna do just now without actually recording anything, because it's just thread the new glow plugs back in, a little bit of copper grease before we put them in, and we're gonna torque them down to, usually it's between 8 and 10. I usually like to do the 10 Newton meters. That's what we're gonna do. I already have the torque wrench here. We're gonna do it, put it all back on, and then do perhaps maybe another couple of measurements, just to make sure we are on the right track. And that's about it for now. So that's what we're going to do, and I will see you very shortly. Okay, and just in case some of you are actually curious, I'm giving 10 Newton meters, okay? I do not know what the recommendation is for this particular engine. Not interested. I'm going to do 10 Newton meters regardless, and that's it. So just in case you guys were curious to know how much I'll be doing, that's how much I'm doing. Okay, and just to make sure, guys, we're going to do a very quick test again. Let me see if we can see. Yeah, you can see it. So that's going to go. So all the glow plugs are plugged in. and we're going to check, do exactly the same check as we did at the start. 1.1 ohms. 1.1. 1.1. 1.1. That's what good glow plugs should look like. Okay, and I've spent 20 minutes cleaning my tools, and when I should have actually do this because I don't have much more daylight. I'll do what I can. So before I actually even start attempt to start this thing, I just want to establish a few things, make sure everything is okay. And what we're going to do, let me see if I can put the phone here somehow, so we can all see what's going on. Hold on a second. Okay, and what we're going to do here, guys, is establish a few things. So first of all, according to my diagrams, as you can see, I should have permanent voltage on pin number 3. Okay, so let's gonna check pin number 3, which is gonna be, according to the relay, pin number 3 is gonna be that one. There we go. Permanent voltage, which is okay. Key is off, by the way. So the next thing, oh come on, stay in place. The next thing we need to check, or the next thing we can check while we have the test light on the negative side of the battery, we can check this number 1, which should have voltage when you turn the key on. So the fuel pump relay kicks in, sends voltage to this and to other systems, but it sends voltage to pin number 1. So let's gonna put the test light on pin number 1. There we go. Now I'm gonna turn the key on. And as you have seen, test light light up, so we do have current in there. So we establish we have on the load side we have permanent voltage, and we establish that on the control side we do have voltage on pin number 1. Now we're going to check the grounds. So the grounds, we should have one ground, pin number 2. That's what is controlled by the ECU itself. So the PCM sends ground or grounds this coil, and that's what makes the relay to a closed circuit. So we're going to go on the other pin. Here we need to change the test light to the voltage side because the ECU is going to ground. So now when I turn the ignition on, I don't know if I need to crank the engine, but we'll see what needs to be done. I'm just going to turn the key on, see if the PCM attempts to turn on the relay. And as you have seen, indeed, he attempted to turn on the relay. Obviously, the relay is not there, but he definitely applied ground in there. So the only other thing now we need to establish, really, is to see if the relay closes okay, and he actually sends voltage through these 2 pins. Okay, looking at these now, I actually think that this might not be. So he says on the actual diagrams, he says glow diag. On over there, I have even wrote in there as well on this pin number 7, which is this tiny pin here on this relay, is this pin here on the side. Okay, this pin is linked with what it looks like a resistor onto the load side of pin number 5, which is what actually outputs the voltage to the glow plugs. But I'm now thinking that these might not be what I'm thinking it is, and some of you are probably more clued about this than I am. So I think what is happening is when the relay closes, it sends voltage obviously straight to the glow plugs, and this is not sending voltage to the ECU to tell the relay is closed or not. I think what this does is, this is a current sensing circuit, and what I think it does is, it measures how much current is being drawn on this circuit, and I think this ECU will have predetermined values for all the glow plugs working, how much current should be drawn, how much current should be drawn for 3 glow plugs working, for 2 glow plugs working, or one glow plug working. And obviously, I'm guessing what it does is when it detects that value is below that main threshold, or might not even measure all these values. It might just measure when everything is working as soon as that value drops, because it can't identify between glow plugs, because all the glow plugs are merged together on this load side. So it might not even be that actually. It might just be that all the glow plugs should draw, let's say 40 amps for example. Anything below, let's say 30 amps for example, the system will detect a fault because it knows that all the glow plugs working should draw more than 40 amps or should draw more than 30 amps. So the moment that current drop falls below that value, that means something is wrong, which is in this case either an open circuit, a broken wire, whatever, or a bad glow plug. So I think that's what this circuit does, and if it's above that value, maybe it will just burn the fuse or it might just turn the system off. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think this is just sending voltage to the ECU to tell the relay is closed. I don't think that's why it does. I might be wrong, but it makes more sense if that's why it does. Okay, and just while I was here editing the video today, it just crossed my mind about another possibility of how this system works. That's why I'm recording now on my comfy pajama. And the possibility is the following: because the ECU is constantly connected to the glow plugs through that pin number 7, it could be that the ECU is constantly monitoring the glow plugs without the need of the relay to be closed. So no need of sending any voltage to the glow plugs for the ECU to detect a problem. That would explain why the ECU initially would not clear the code. Because obviously it was always monitoring through that pin number 7. So clear the code, the ECU automatically detects that's still a problem, wouldn't clear the code. However, it doesn't mean that when you try to clear the codes, the ECU doesn't briefly power that relay to be able to close the circuit to see if there is a problem, and then because it's still a problem, the fault would stay. However, if the ECU monitors the glow plugs through that pin number 7 all the time, it doesn't make much sense to be through measuring resistance, because the plugs are connected in parallel, which means the ECU was only able to detect a problem if all the glow plugs were out. So the only other explanation is if the ECU somehow pulses that pin number 7 with the relay open, obviously. If the ECU sends some voltage through there and measures the load, and obviously depending on how many glow plugs are working, the load will be different, and the ECU would detect it like that. Would have to be something really small and briefly, because that circuit is really small. It's a really thin wire, so anything too big would just burn. So it would have to be something really small, as I said, just to monitor. The way it makes more sense is the way I have already explained, but if anyone does have access to functional descriptions on this particular system on a Ford, it would be interesting to know. So if you do know exactly how it works, just leave it below. It will be interesting to know. But now guys, back to the video. So we're gonna quickly probably test the relay on a bench, because if the relay is actually closing properly on a bench, and there is no reasons for this not to be working properly, unless something is wrong here on this circuit here. But if it is, then that means it's just another relay, that is just the relay that needs replacing, and that's about it. So let's gonna quickly take that relay to the bench and do a couple tests. Okay, so let me see if I can quickly show you what I have here. So what I have here is my power supply. I have a bulb in here. Show you it is working. Okay, it is working. Let's gonna apply voltage to this relay. Just make sure the relay is working. We're gonna be able to hear the click. 12 volts, I think is the other way around. Yeah. Can you hear it? Okay, so the relay, it is working. So all we need to establish now is that this circuit is closing. So the way we're going to do that is by putting voltage. How are we going to do this? So if I do this, okay, and now, sorry guys, I got interrupted, but so as I was saying, so if I put voltage like this on the coil and on the load side, And now I put this one, So now I can't do this. I need to do, I'm doing this wrong. So this one needs to come here. This one goes there. Okay, and now I do this. So close the relay. If I put ground here, there we go. Look guys, if you don't know how a relay works, you are watching the wrong video, okay? So go find out how a relay works and then you will see exactly what I'm doing here. I'm testing the control side and the load side at the same time, okay? And as you can see, it is working absolutely perfect. Okay, we have 1.199 kiloohms on the circuit between the load side and that pin number 7. Though I don't have a clue what we should have. I don't have a good known relay here to measure, but that's what we have. This is definitely, well, it looks definitely like a resistor. It doesn't look like a diode. Even the diagrams don't show a diode, but by measuring it is definitely a resistor. So that's why we have in that circuit. But guys, everything else is working, so the circuit is going to definitely close. If we do still have a fault after this, it's going to have to be this value here. That is not what this you should be seeing, or a wiring issue between this pin 7 on the relay socket and this U itself. Can't see anything else wrong, but that's not going to escalate things this quick. That's just going to put the relay back in place, start the car, plug in the maxi Cs, and see what we have. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to start the car, but before doing that, we're going to just establish that this has fixed my problem. So if you guys do remember, back in the video when I cleared the codes for the on the PCM, that code would not clear. So key is off, so it's going to turn it on, and if you remember, it's going to attempt to turn the glow plugs on now. So that should be hitting the glow plugs now. If you remember, was doing it just by turning the key on. So let's gonna read the codes again, and then we'll clear the codes, and we'll see if he comes back. If you remember, that glow plug code would not go away. Okay, so he's still here. Let's gonna go back. Let's erase the code. And look at that, code is gone. So let's see how the car actually starts, see if it starts okay. Come on. And it's starting. It took a little bit to start, but to be fair with you, there was a lot of air on the fuel system for some reason. Maybe because I've been messing with that thingy, had to pump it a little bit. But guys, it started fine. There's no flashing of any lights, and if you remember, that code was here all the time. I have no doubts now to believe that this that this was 100% caused by the glow plugs. There we go, guys. So in the end, glow plugs replacement. Even I was a little bit, well, and that's the bit I want to cover that I've said, that I've mentioned just back in the video. Which is, guys, if you do follow the channel, you know that I usually do that many times in the past. I actually recommend you to do that, which is when you have codes that you're not sure what's causing the fault, is you just clear the codes, drive the car until one of the faults come back. Now, the reason why I haven't done it this time was because I didn't assume that the glow plugs would cause this problem. Usually glow plugs will make you a light to stay on a little bit longer, or it will make you the light to flash while the engine is warm, then goes away. But a light coming randomly like this, well, I learned the lesson. Definitely I learned something with this repair, and that's the reason why I went straight away into the EGR, because I thought the EGR is the one that's going to cause the problem. Obviously I've wasted a little bit of time, and I've wasted a little bit of your time while I was focused on EGR, until I cleared the codes, and then it clicked, hold on a second, the EGR code is not coming back, only the glow plug code, and I still have the engine flashes. So 1 + 1, and there we go. In the end, guys, quite easy fix. I was lucky with these glow plugs, I'm not gonna lie. Easy repair there, and that's it. So in the end, that was the issue, guys. It was just a bad set of glow plugs, and I will show you the cluster once again. As you're going to see, there's no flashing lights whatsoever. As you can see, we still have a good engine running with no flashing lights, no anything like that. Guys, I don't need to go for a drive, that's for sure, because the driving for me was just to check that live date on the EGR. That was it, and I don't need to go for another drive with this, because obviously the glow plugs driving the car will make no difference whatsoever. And with that, guys, we're going to wrap up this video now, because it's fixed. So as you can see, it's running absolutely perfect, and I still have to put all my tools away, etc. But that's it for this video, guys. So it is absolutely freezing today. It's been pretty much -2 all day, and I've been just working here with those temperatures. It's been absolutely freezing. And next, guys, we have that Volvo to work on. We have this one, which I don't know when you're going to see this video. There's really a lot of money to spend on this car, which the guy actually wants to do it. So and I do have a few more cars to come, but honestly, with this weather, all you want is get into the sofa, cozy and comfy, and leave the cars alone. But unfortunately, guys, I love these too much to just let it go. So anyway, enough for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you do still have any questions, any comments, you know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.